कोई एक टेबल मिल जाएगा, इसको ना मुझे यूं रखना है, ये कैसे होगा? एक मिनट, किस मुसीबत में आ गया? Assalamualaikum everybody, this is Muhammad Haris Sadim, your instructor for language 1123. The lesson we are going to do today is letter writing. This is part of directed writing, paper 1, section 1. It's of 30 marks in total. And in directed writing, as we've discussed earlier in the earlier lessons, that in directed writing we may have a letter coming up, or a report, an article. It could also be a speech. So far as letter writing is concerned, we have two choices for that. We may have a formal letter or an informal letter coming up in our exam, and we should be preparing ourselves for the basic elements of directed writing, which we'll be discussing shortly, inshallah. Let me share with you the file, and then we'll be discussing it in detail. First, we are going to discuss the format of letter writing, and then we'll be discussing the language requirements, the organization of paragraphs, and other stuff related to it. Let me share with you the document, and then we'll be starting off with that. My dear students, you can see the slide on the screen. You can see it on screen now. I hope you can see the screen, and on screen you can see that we are about to start letter writing. First thing first that we are going to share right now is the very format. Then we'll be looking into the elements of directed writing. Those are essential to ace the skill of letter writing. The kind of letter we are going to do today is actually a formal letter. The slide you can see right now on screen is a formal letter. We have few parts of the formal letter that we need to discuss today. So far as O levels English is concerned, it starts with the addresses, the writer's address, the recipient's address, the date, salutation, subject heading, body of the letter. Then we have a complimentary clause, and then we have the veiled diction. Veiled diction is the very last part of letter writing, which we also call the signature and name and all that. This is what we call veiled diction. Starting with the addresses part, writer's address, then we have recipient's address, then we have the date, and then we have the salutation. Salutation is the part of the letter in which you write, dear sir, dear madam. In informal letter, you may write dear name. Name means could be name of a relative, could be name of a friend or someone. So in O levels English, paper 1, directed writing, and in a directed writing question, the last sentence in directed writing question, if you have seen one, we always have a statement presented by the examiner in the words like start your letter with dear sir. He can either ask you to start your letter with dear sir or dear madam or whatsoever the instructions are. But the thing to note down right now is that you'll be having a categorically stated start of the letter. And once you have that by your side, you shouldn't be worrying about the format of that particular letter writing. You should be worrying um, about the addresses, the writer's address, the recipient's address, and the date and all that. So the letter categorically asks you to start your letter with dear sir. If it's dear sir, then write dear sir, comma, and this is the very salutation you have for the start of the letter. After the starting, we have a subject. Subject is an optional element in formal letters, but it is always most recommended and most advisable at this very moment that you should be writing your subject according to the purpose and situation given already in the directed writing question of yours. So once you are done reading, understanding, comprehending the very structure, the very meaning of the directed writing question, you should be writing the salutation, dear sir, comma, in your response, and the next thing that you should be writing is the very subject of yours. The subjects should be center aligned. You can have it left aligned as well. There are so many formats out there. The kind of format you have on the screen right now is the left, left aligned format. This is the UK format for letter writing. And I would suggest you to write your there might be some few changes that I would like to differ in this format, and I would advise you to make it more presentable. You may write down the subject of yours duly underlined, center lined. It should be center aligned and duly underlined. So once you are done with the salutation, dear sir, comma, and then you write the subject of yours perfectly center aligned with having it underlined as well. Next thing that you take up to start your formal letter is the very first paragraph of yours. My dear students, there is an important point to note down right here is that you should be starting the very first paragraph of your letter, of your formal letter, that must state the purpose and the situation given in a directed writing question, already stated, already given in a directed writing question. So the things to take down is number one, the first paragraph of yours must always contain the purpose and audience, the purpose and situation of your letter writing question. You will read the question and you will understand, you will note down, you will identify the purpose and situation from the question, and you will write down that purpose and situation in the very first paragraph of yours. The first paragraphs may also have a clue about the audience, the format of yours. So, wrapping it up, the discussion on the first paragraph, the things that we can possibly have in the very first paragraph of yours is those things are purpose, situation, audience, and format. For example, the purpose of writing this letter is to suggest improvements in the school library. Full stop. There are so many things that requires improvements in the structure and the in the presentation of books and reading material available in the library. And you may also write that the principal has asked you to suggest these improvements, and you have some important points collected through a research, through a poll that you have recently conducted in your school regarding uh, the recommendations of your regarding the the very recommendations of your school fellows. So we are done with the first part of it, the first part that belongs to the very first paragraph of a formal letter, that must contain the purpose, the situation. It may also have the format. It may also give you a clue about the very audience of yours. Next thing, every letter, every piece of directed writing that includes letters, reports, speeches, and articles. We have four things to discuss, to study, to practice, to ace in directed writing portion of our O Levels English Paper 1 writing paper. Be very mindful of the fact that we need to presentably, clearly, in a very organized manner, we have to write down 5 paragraphs. There must be a 5 paragraphs composed piece of writing in a directed writing response. If you're writing a formal letter, that must also be composed of 5 paragraphs. Let me share with you the very organizational pattern of these 5 paragraphs. I would like you to note it down, please. Number one, the first paragraph of yours, as I told you before, must contain the purpose and situation already given in the question of yours. The second paragraph of yours in the formal letter will be composed of the first content point already given in the question. Now, what you need to do is, when you are done with the purpose and situation in the first paragraph, then you should be moving on. You should be moving on to the second paragraph of yours, in which you will develop the first content point given in your directed writing question. That's very important. There can be a question like, what makes us develop that content point of ours already given in the question in a better manner? So the best thing, the best language tool that you have at your disposal to develop your first content point into detail in the very second paragraph of yours is with the help of logic and reason. With the help of logic and reason, you should be developing the first content point of yours into detail with the help of some facts, figures, and informative writings. For example, if we take a question in which the principal asks you to recommend some of the improvements in the school library, and you read the question, you read the content points as well, you read the first content point, which actually states that you need to share with your audience the very areas of library that needs attention, that needs improvement. Now, how are you going to take up this first content point of yours? How are you going to develop this first content point of yours into detail with the help of logic and reason? My dear students, writing skill owes a great deal to your overall reading experience. If you talk about the reading experience, it includes all the fiction, non-fiction, text types that you have read so far in your life as yet. This rich reading experience of yours promises you the best of the knowledge, the best of the information that you can choose, that you can identify, that you can collect, recollect in your mind, and composed onto the paper in a very organized manner. So, if the question asks us to write down the areas of the school library that needs improvement, and this is, as I told you before, the very first content point of ours, then there be now there is need for an O levels English candidate to write down, to compose a sort of mind map, and through that mind map you are going to write down some of the clues, some of the ideas that you can probably bring your logic and reason. And with that mind map, with the rough notes of yours, with the rough outline for the development of this first content point into detail, will help you to write down, to compose that looking organized of yours. What are the, for example, let's do some practice, start recollect ideas on some possible areas of library that needs improvement. What could be the areas? Could be the books of the library needs updated addition for that. The furniture of the library needs to be in a better shape, needs repair, or needs replacement. School library may also require an updated online system for the school students to borrow the books. School library may also have some up-to-date modern IT devices to support learning and reading process being conducted in that very school. For example, the school library must be equipped with the facility of a projector with which you can possibly project the video resources, the audio resources, the PowerPoint presentations, the history movies and all that can help you out in your different subjects, scientific explorations and all that. So the ideas we have recollected to develop our first content point, which is the areas that needs improvement in the school library. So the ideas are: number one, the books needs updated additions. Number two, the furniture, the broken furniture needs to be replaced. Number three, the kinds of the library must be equipped with the IT devices. All right, IT devices like projectors and computers and all that. So you should be picking up the most, you see, the most significant, the most necessary part of yours. That actually uh, uh, is the answer to your logic and reason. That type of logic and reason, we are going to any two of them. For example, the most, you see, significant one, the most necessary one, the most needful requirements are the books updated editions and the furniture of the library needs replacement. So you should be writing down in the same paragraph, you should be writing down the details of these two requirements with the evidence of yours. Because let me tell you, my dear students, that this letter is going to be an informative one. So you should be writing and providing the details against each of the content point you have in question, in a better manner, in a better informative manner. So whenever the principal asks you to write such a letter, it's your duty and you are responsible as a writer that you need to provide complete, precise, specific, required information regarding a particular problem. You should be stating, like, if the books needs updated edition, why is that so? What good these updated editions of the books may serve to the students? What good the replacement of furniture may serve to the students? It's important. For example, the logic for this very thing is like the updated books actually needs the updated knowledge that can be imparted to the students who be there in the library and make the most out of the updated knowledge from the books. And a better comfortable furniture actually allows you to study in a, in a very comfortable environment, in a conducive environment for learning. So this is the mind mapping that I've just presented right now. So this is a very humble example of developing your content points into details. Now, coming back to the organizational pattern of the body of the letter, as I told you before, 5 paragraphs must be there. The first paragraph being composed of the purpose and situation. Second paragraph, the development of the first content point into detail. The third paragraph will be the development of the second content point into detail. The fourth paragraph will be the development of the third content point into detail. We are done with the 4 paragraphs. Now, the 5th paragraph. My dear students, one of the most crucial, most significant, and the most critical one is the 5th paragraph of yours. This is what we call the complementary clause, the 5th paragraph of yours. You may also call it the ending of the letter. The ending of the letter actually is few lines written in which you sum up your discussion, keeping in view the very purpose, situation, and audience of your letter. The most important things are purpose and situation. Purpose, why did you write that particular letter? Why do you have to write a letter? Why are you writing a letter? That is the purpose. So based on the very purpose and the situation, what actually is the situation of the letter? The situation is that the school library needs improvement in some of its areas. Based upon these two things, based upon the details you've already projected in the composition of your letter, you need to design your complementary clause, the last paragraph of yours, based on your purpose and situation. I hope, for example, you start writing the 5th paragraph, the complementary clause of your letter writing in these words like, I hope the information presented above will be beneficial in highlighting the problematic areas of the school library. With the solutions suggested above, we may provide students a better conducive environment to study and perform better in their coming exams. Because the purpose of a school library is to promise better learning. Better learning comes with better knowledge, conducive environment, suitable environment. This is the 5th paragraph of yours. After the 5th paragraph, we have the veiled diction, and veiled diction is what we have the last part of the paragraph in which we sorry, in which we have the part like yours sincerely, yours faithfully, yours truly, or something. Will be ending like yours sincerely, and then you write the name of yours as a writer. This is the very structure of letter writing, and specifically the formal letter. Sorry. So, with this structure, we close today's lesson. For the language writing, for the language requirements, and the difference between formal and informal letter, that corresponds a great deal to the distinction between formal and informal language, will be discussed in detail in the next lesson, inshallah. So do not miss the next lesson, revise this one, and in the next lesson, I'll brief you about some salient features of formal and informal language requirements. That's an important part of O levels English assessment objectives. The marking criteria for a formal letter also includes an appropriate register, keeping in view the purpose and situation of the letter. So I'll be briefing you about the use of register. Register means the style of language. In any given situation, in any given purpose, in any given format of directed writing, should you be using informal language or the formal one? This is the concept we are going to discuss in our next lesson, inshallah. It's nice to have you people here. Thank you so very much for today's lesson. And you've been a nice audience, and I would welcome questions from your side as well. You may send me the questions, and you know the process. You can send a private message to me. And after this course, we'll be assessing your work as well in the next course, inshallah. So revise the lesson of yours, okay, the points I have noted down, and the image has already been shared with you. The presentation has already been there. So see you, inshallah, in the next lesson. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.